It can travel anywhere in time and space.
Right. This is gonna be fun.
Off we go.
Into time and space!
Welcome to Time and Space, the Nerd Party's dedicated Doctor Who podcast. I'm Jessica Nunn.
And I'm her co-host and husband, Phillip Gilfus. Well, we've actually did a little bit of Doctor Who stuff this week, even though it was pretty busy. We put in our Matt Smith Blu-ray that we're slowly rewatching. So we didn't see any extras, but we did watch Asylum of the Daleks, which I don't think you had watched in your previous rewatch.
No, I hadn't seen that in a while, yeah.
So
I'd totally forgotten about the whole random blip. Amy's a model, and she and Rory are getting divorced, and she can't have children. I missed all of that. Mm-hmm. All of it.
Yeah. And then we get the introduction of Jenna Coleman.
Is this the first time we see her?
Yeah,
yeah, of course it is. Because we see her in the Christmas special later.
Right.
Is that the second time we see her?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, as Oswin Oswald.
Yes. Yeah, this is the one where they started doing mid-season breaks, right? So... Well, I'm not... Okay, I don't know 10 off the top of my head, his whole series, because he, of course, had that special series. But at least... Okay, with 11, I'll rephrase. Just with 11, he had his first series, which was a complete series. And then the Christmas special. And then we had second, which I think was also complete. And then you had Christmas. And this is the one where we're going to go Amy to Manhattan. And then we're going to take the mid-season break. And then we'll have the Christmas special with Clara. And then we'll start the second half of that season with Clara now as the companion.
Oh, okay.
You know
so do you think that they chose to do that so that they could change up companions?
I don't know. I mean, you know, if anyone out there knows any mysteries of the Doctor Who series production, because I mean, I would say Matt kind of got, well, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't care. He still got paid. But I think Matt got screwed out of it sometime in the TARDIS, because with these I mean, Peter did too, to an extent, because we had a whole year without anything.
Yeah.
Just as now, you know, Whittaker or Jodie isn't going to have a whole year, so.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, chronologically, like if you put like a calendar year of when they were the Doctors, they all had similar time. But if you start looking at episodes like we have before, it kind of dwindles down each Doctor.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I'm also interested in, like, why... Is it the writer's decision that Amy and Rory go? Is it...
the actors
Karen
saying,
and Arthur saying, we've got other things we want to pursue.
Or just Karen.
Karen saying, I'm off to be a Marvel villain.
And Arthur's like, oh, so I guess I should start.
Looking for a job. Turns out Chris Chibnall's
yeah, that's right.
called me and left a message. Let me see what that says.
And he went the DC route. With
yeah, of course, Legends of Tomorrow.
Thank you, which I've never seen before.
No, but we should do.
Yeah, just to check it out.
Yeah, we like to be supportive.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only reason we watch the Marvel movies, isn't it? So that we can
support
Karen. Yeah, I feel like that's right.
No,
that must be right.
So I think
and Ant-Man.
And exactly. So also, I mean, not to get people sick of us talking about it, but still getting Galley 1 approaching. I started to fish some things out of my closet to put my stuff together for what I'll be wearing, and I've started at least penciling in some scheduling and contacting people for potential podcasts. So
and Mom is sorting out the Dalek bumps.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be sooner than we think, because it's the 20th of January. We leave like the 12th or something, right, of February?
Something like that.
11th or 12th.
What's today? The 20th?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's 31 days, but still.
Yeah.
So, not many. I mean, I was just doing our calendar, our scheduling for this podcast release. You know, I think there's only 3 episodes left, counting this one. And so it's Galley.
We're off to L.A.
Yeah, and then you guys who...
I'm quite nervous about this. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I think it's your first big con experience.
Yeah.
I've slowly eased you in with sort of regional local ones. And just small local ones, you know, because... There's certainly big ones in North Carolina, and there's one in Charlotte and Raleigh and Durham, I think. But, you know, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I think I'm anxious about it. I don't do crowds well, so.
But we'll have a hotel room to retreat to.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the bar.
Yeah. And we'll also have people we know, at least. You know, people we know in L.A. And
yes,
some
absolutely.
People we've
very
met
excited about that.
Through doing this and other things that we'll meet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I am excited. about meeting people that you have met and I've heard a lot about. And we exchange Christmas cards and things like that. And now we finally get to meet them. Hooray. I finally get to meet them. Is this going to be like when I took you to England and then did a poll amongst my British friends?
Yes.
Who...
Well, because the one thing I look forward to, and whether it works out or not, who knows, but when I, doing the Star Trek podcast I do here on the network, City Alpha 3, previously, in our previous incarnation, before we regenerated into City Alpha 3, in our previous Star Trek podcast we did in another network, we all ended up meeting, a lot of us co-hosts ended up meeting in Star Trek Vegas, I guess a few years ago at this point. But we did doing a live podcast. It was a definitely interesting experience. So where we just put the Blue Yeti microphone in the middle of the table there in our suite and turn the settings to surround sound and just, everyone just sat across the table and you just do a podcast that way. So,
are we going to try something like that?
Yeah, so I've been contacting some people to see, so that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Because I think, not every day, because we're going to be there for like almost a week, but maybe we'll have sort of 3 podcasts worth of content where we, or we'll 4. But like, as far as days, like, I'm thinking off the top of my head, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'll do a podcast Thursday evening and then, or Friday morning, or Friday, just doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because I think those will be full days. I don't know how much will go on Wednesday, but I don't think enough to talk about, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, stuff
I don't
to
know
think
how
about.
Sober I'll be at that point.
Well, maybe you'll finally be more entertaining.
You funny man.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of entertaining and starting new things, that will be our subject today.
New beginnings.
Yes. So you've watched, at this point in your Doctor Who watching, you've seen all the beginnings of the Doctors, all the first episodes. You saw the very first episode of Doctor Who, of course, with Bill Hartnell, the first Doctor. Yeah. We watched the animated Power of the Daleks, I believe, is the second Doctor's first time. And Spearhead from Space, the third Doctor's, the first color one.
Okay,
where he is getting chased on a bicycle and stealing cars and all that stuff. And the fifth Doctor, Castrovalva, if I'm saying that correctly, where he's just looking for a room to chill out in the whole time and gets carried around in the...
Oh, yes, yes.
Which is not really my favorite episode. People like that for some reason. That's not my favorite. But anyway, the sixth Doctor strangling his companion, Perry, for the first time. Yep. The Twin Dilemma.
Which, to be fair, is, I'd do that.
Right. And, of course, from there, you've seen the movie...
Yep.
And all of nuWho.
Yep.
But the 2 you haven't seen is the 2 we're going to be talking about today. And that's going to be comparing 2 Doctors' first appearances and how those worked out and the similarity and differences and all those wonderful things. So we'll be talking about 4, the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, and 7, Sylvester McCoy's first outings as their respective Doctors. And so for the first one, I'll do a brief synopsis here for Robot, and then you can do the brief synopsis for Time and the Rani. Okay. So, for the fourth Doctor, Robot, which premiered 28 December 1974, trouble is brewing once again. Top secret plans are being stolen with their guards killed. All evidence seems to point to the culprit being a sentient robot created by a think tank. However, his basic programming prevents him from killing, providing a contradiction to the clues. At the same time, the Doctor is recovering from his latest regeneration. Can he regain his senses and help UNIT solve the case before time runs out?
Dun, dun, dun. Right. Time and the Rani premiered the 7th of September, 1987. The Rani has returned after her last encounter with the Doctor with yet another malicious scientific scheme. Taking advantage of the post-regenerative trauma the recently regenerated and unstable Doctor is going through, the Rani hopes to achieve control of an approaching asteroid composed entirely of strange matter. Can the Doctor figure out he is being used for the Rani's evil experiment? And what is behind the door the Rani won't allow the Doctor past?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Indeed. Yes.
So, of course, that's all from TARDIS.wiki, synopses. So, let's just start with the basics here. So, like I said, you've seen them all at this point now, how Doctors react to regeneration, and the War Doctor, too, and all that. But anyway, so... let's just go in order here. The fourth Doctor, how did you think he went with his regeneration from 3 to 4? And
Yeah, went properly crazy a little bit. We had some Tom Baker crazy eye through it, which is nice. We get the jelly babies, fun.
Yeah.
Now, both of them, not to skip ahead,
Sure.
but both of them do fun costume changes.
Yeah, which I always think was a fun part.
Yes, sort of going in, and the Fourth Doctor does it with random costumes.
Right.
And
You
the
sort of get your tried and true trope of
was he a Roman at one point?
he's a Viking.
A Viking at one point, yeah.
Clown, sad clown.
Sad clown, that's right. And then 7 does a little bit of that. He does a Napoleon Bonaparte moment.
He goes through the actual wardrobe,
but
TARDIS
yes,
wardrobe.
Yeah. Well, presumably so does 4.
Yeah.
Because he keeps going back into the TARDIS
Yeah.
and changing clothes. But 7 tries on costumes from previous Doctors.
Right.
Which is quite cool. That's just a nice hat tip that I really appreciated.
Yeah. So I just like the subtle stuff, you know. When you see the new costume change to the Doctor, like, they don't have to show every Doctor, but it's nice to just throw in a second Doctor coat or a, bow tie or just something.
Yeah.
Just to be a little...
Yeah, again, it's just a little wink to...
Because then they can be like, oh, this doesn't work, or this is, whatever.
Yeah.
They're just saying, this is not me anymore. And so, yeah, because I think with the Fourth Doctor, his is, simple. The scarf aside, of course. It's very simple. It's just sort of a gentlemanly, underclothes with a jacket over it.
And a hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first time I've noticed, anyway, that the scarf is used as much as it is. Is that something that continues, or?
I think so. I don't think it's every serial, but yeah, I think it's more... Well, because I think it's developed into an affectation. Obviously, at the time, it wasn't like, oh, this is going to be a Doctor that most people remember. It was just like, I don't know, we think it's funny. So, just like the 6 and 7 tend to use their umbrellas. You give them something, they're going to use it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, that was fun.
Yeah, so I think with 7 choosing his wardrobe, I did like the reveal with that final one where he's wearing the second Doctor's little fur coat and then reveals his clothes underneath. And again... very, kind of like 4 in a way, other than the scarf. It's very simple wear.
Full of questions.
Yeah, that's true. The question marks, the jumper, and all that.
Doctor Who.
Yeah. But I thought both of them sort of very... Because, I think of, like, 5 as an obviously costume with the cricket gear.
Yes.
And then
yeah.
6. What do you say about 6? And...
You have all sorts.
What about the costume? Like, Mel at some point is like, it's hard to miss that Doctor, and then, like... he changes clothes, and that's why she doesn't know who he is. But I think they both sort of have sort of a simple wardrobe. It's still a little formal, quote-unquote, but
Yeah.
not as stylized.
Not sports cash, but also not Oscars night.
Yeah. Even the third Doctor's a little stylized.
Yeah.
The fluff.
Yeah,
on
certainly,
the,
yeah. Yeah, the frill.
But to me, it seemed like the Fourth Doctor did not have that much of a transition. He, like you said, he sort of went a little crazy, did his little exercise, and not knowing who, took him a few guesses with Brigadier. But I'd say, like, if you did the timing, maybe 5 to 10 minutes before he was who he was.
He was good to go.
And I think with 7th, they sort of fooled us, or not fooled us, but they played it, because I think he instantly knew what was, like, oh, you're the Rani, and then basically gets knocked out and then drugged, and so I think that messed him up.
Yes.
And that's why it took him like 2 episodes to finally, or 3 episodes to finally figure out what was going on. But
yes, which gives the Rani the opportunity to dress up like Mel, which I thought was great.
I didn't know how to prep you for that, so I was like, I'm not going to say anything. So I was like, what did you think of that?
I really liked it.
It's a little bonkers, but...
it's completely bonkers, but it works. In terms of she's given him this drug, he's newly regenerated, she's got she does a wonderful voice modulation back and forth, which is quite fun to watch. So, I was okay with that. I was good with it. What did you think?
Yeah, it's, I was looking up the episode time on the Rani. I think I saw something where it's ranked as, like, the 3rd worst Doctor.
Really?
Yeah. No, look, it's not great. But I don't think it's the worst, or with the worst ever.
Yeah,
no,
I was all right with it.
Yeah,
I was less bored than I have been for lots of others, so no, I wouldn't put it at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, trying to think. So, with the Fourth Doctor, of course, both the Fourth and the Seventh Doctor were same companions. We didn't have any reset buttons.
That's true.
I mean, in the behind the camera there may have been, but as far as in front of the camera, we still had, the Fourth Doctor, it was still Unit, Sarah Jane, Brigadier. I mean, Benton gets a promotion, but everyone's still there. And then with the Seventh Doctor, it's just Mel. I mean, that's all.
Screamy, quite shrill Mel.
Yes.
She was very Perry in this episode.
Yeah, that's why.
Or in this series.
I don't think the Sixth Doctor's companions will help you as much as the Sixth Doctor doesn't help me. So.
All the shrill.
Yep.
But
yeah. So
other than that, I quite like her, and I like the fact that she's a computer programmer or whatever. I don't think I remembered that.
I don't think I remembered that either.
And it's mentioned several times. Well, you're the expert in computers, Mel, and she's the one who figures out. So it's less Perry-like in that way. She does, she has
some demonstrable skills.
She has her damsel in distress moments.
At
but
no time
she
does she say,
has,
I'm confused.
Yeah, good point. Mm-hmm. But then she has those moments of, right, I got this.
How much do you think the companions in each one help the Doctor with the transition, as far as reminding them who they are?
You mean generically, or with these two?
Well, specifically. So, with the Brigadier and Sarah Jane, Sarah, there was an interesting thing where the Fourth Doctor, let me be specific here since we're mixing things up. The Fourth Doctor, upon his regeneration, is sort of like, okay, where's my TARDIS key? I'm out of here, bye. See y'all, nice to meet you. And Sarah's, instead of saying, oh, you need to see what's wrong with you, she's like, oh, there's a case that we need your help on. Isn't that right, Brigadier?
Yes, where previously she seemed uninterested, but this was a good excuse. Yeah. And, I mean, it's difficult particularly to say with 7, because you've got the Rani pretending to be Mel, and then Mel shows up, and the Doctor's like, hey, you're the Rani, and, it...
I think in that part, yeah, like you said, with the mix-up, but Mel's also saying, like, oh, you can't be the Doctor because he's, fair.
These things, yes, yeah, certainly. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they have that I'll feel yours if you'll feel mine moments of checking out heartbeats. Mm-hmm. She doesn't think he's the Doctor, so isn't expecting him to have 2 heartbeats. He thinks she's the Rani, so is expecting her to have 2 heartbeats. And, yeah. And they reach across the table for each other's pulses.
And it's interesting, and I'm not sure there's a right answer, but, because with 4... I think more or less, in my opinion, he just jumps into it in the role, and it's just a story.
Here we go.
Yeah, there's not a lot of existential. Who am I? Where I'm? And is that bad or good? But I think with 7, he has that moment. Who am I? I don't know who I am. Maybe I am this kind of.
Yes, I don't know what kind of personality I have. Yeah, maybe I am a grumpy old man or whatever,
or someone who's pouting or whatever it was.
Yeah. I did love the part where Mel throws him over her shoulder. Mm-hmm. That was a nice moment. Again, I always like a companion who can fend for herself a little bit. Mm-hmm. They have some nice little fight moments that are lovely to see.
Oh, yeah, there was a little tumble. She tumbles him, and he tumbles her.
Yeah. I tumble for you.
We be tumbling.
Sorry, guys.
And there's probably more to say, but how about, so let's get to a sort of a meat of the question with these new first outing versus other outing, because I said this is the first time you're seeing these respective 2 first episodes. So let's go with the Fourth Doctor. With Robot, what we see him in this episode, how does that compare to what you've seen of the Fourth Doctor? Do you see a lot of changes, or is this pretty much the character from the word go?
I feel like he sort of hits the ground running. Mm-hmm. But it's, as we've always said, it's so difficult at any point, whether it is 1974 or 2019, to differentiate Tom Baker from the Doctor.
Yes.
And so, does he hit the ground running, or is this just Tom Baker being Tom Baker, and it stays that way the whole way because Tom Baker?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those behind-the-scenes things that I'm wondering, what, I don't know, because we hear these stories more in modern times, and I don't know, I'm sure people are still around, but you don't hear as much as far as casting, like who was in the room when they cast Tom, or was it just John Nathan Turner or whoever was running? Sorry, I don't think it was John Nathan Turner at that point. Sorry, but anyway, whoever was Barry Letts or whoever the heck it was running Doctor Who at that time, or BBC, who cast them, and then what did they see, and then what were they going for? Going from John Pertwee, what it's always you're getting what you you don't want what you had before. So what were they looking for?
Yeah,
obviously maybe more humor. Not that 3,000 wasn't funny.
No, but Pertwee was much more formal.
Yeah,
almost.
The gentleman. I don't know how to
stayed. I don't. There are funny moments, but I don't picture Pertwee cracking the jokes. Mm-hmm. His would be more dry,
right?
Whereas the Fourth Doctor gets a little bit more slapsticky, all over the place. Not quite as far as 2, but physical with his humor. Yeah, Pertwee's not.
There were 2 notes I wrote down. It was really just for the Fourth Doctor, but one, he had that nose touch from the beginning of where he puts his finger against his nose, because I think about in the 50th anniversary with the caretaker, and he's telling who knows indeed, and so that's sort of
again, is it Tom Baker or is it the Doctor?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
That's right. Well, I like a little mystery. And then I also thought, this is to me, maybe people like this scene or don't like it in Robot, but I thought, if as a writer, if you want a scene to show that it's the Doctor, that very, the genius or this, whatever, but you got to show it. You should. You don't have to.
Ideally,
obviously.
yes.
But I thought it was the sort of when he confronts the robot in the house, and he does all these little small things to try to beat the robot, and ultimately the robot, I think, knocks him out. But like he throws ball bearings, it doesn't work, and so then he tries to put a scarf around the pillars to trip, and that doesn't work. And then he throws a chain, and that doesn't work, and throws a hat. But all these little things is trying to show, this is the Doctor. He has ideas. He knows, how to do these things. Ultimately the robot, plays possum and then knocks him out. But I thought it was a very subtle scene where, you might think, well, this is just slapstick. Why are we doing this? But it's this is one of the sort of, you need that to show he's the Doctor.
The problem solver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, it was one of those things that none of it, what he does works out. But I think it's good to show that he's thinking.
Always using the noggin.
Tom Baker and the Fourth Doctor, like you said. Again, I'd be curious to know what direction, if any, was given. Because I know...
Or if they just said, you do you, boo.
I know in the later years he got to be Tom Bakery and was not known for taking direction. But anyway... but
not even a little bit surprised by this.
But this is early days.
But also, if you give somebody that much free reign...
Yeah.
And then... years later try to rein him in.
Yeah.
It's like a child. If you wait until they're 11 to try to teach them any sort of manners, you've missed that boat. It is gone. And same sort of thing. If you're going to give somebody that much free rein, you can't. And I think that was, it's the same bit of trouble they ran into with Hartnell, isn't it?
Yeah. Because I think it's an interesting beginning with the Fourth Doctor, because he has such this big supporting cast. Sarah Jane, the Brigadier, Benton. That's a large.
But then they cut it almost straight away.
Yeah, where and of course for the Fourth Doctor, he would just have the single companion until the end days with the kiddie group that he'd give to the Fifth Doctor. So yeah, but I thought he still, again, because it's early days, he played well with others at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a star vehicle.
No. And then what do you think about the Seventh Doctor? From what we saw, obviously he's a little more confused there, so you didn't really get him until maybe the third and fourth episode there, compared to what you've seen throughout the...
And I feel like he was freer in this than he is later on. He seems more reserved later on, and maybe part of that's Ace. She needs the professor... whereas Mel doesn't, and that changes who he can be. But this felt very free.
Yeah, and not that I know McCoy's background off the top of my head, but if I remember correctly, he comes from a comedic background. And so I remember watching it this time. For some reason in my head, I thought he was a little more slapstick in this beginning than he actually was. He really wasn't that slapstick. It was just more the writing with the proverbs and the wordplay and all that, which, settles down.
I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did you get to a place where you're like, okay, we're running out of proverbs here.
Yeah. And so I feel like for some reason I've misremembered that it was a whole lot worse than watching it this time. I'm like, it is what it is, but it's not like overused or crazy. Yeah. But obviously I think he settles down. He becomes more of a, not that he was the clown this first outing, but he a little more with the dry humor, more of the, I don't know what word I'm trying to think of. I don't want to say manipulator, though he is accused of being that, but just more of the thinker, more of the strategic.
Yeah, and again, more reserved.
Yes.
When I picture him in my head with Ace, it's always much more contained than what we saw this time. Of course, he might have been unnerved because Mel would not stop screaming. And let me tell you, Bonnie Langford, she has got a scream on her. It's way better than Perry's, but just as obnoxious.
Now, to go back to Robot and the Fourth Doctor, just generally, we don't do the whole story. I thought it was, what'd you think of just as the actual serial?
Yeah, it was an interesting idea about the humanity of the robot. And of course, I picked this out as we were going through, that it's very Frankenstein, with the monster being portrayed as bad, even though it's not his fault, kind of thing.
Right.
And ultimately having to be destroyed anyway, although, who knows if Frankenstein's monster's actually destroyed. All we see is him
wandering the Arctic, or floating away.
Yeah, floating away on the ice. So, the comparison may stop there, but I quite like that as an idea. This idea that I am who my creator made me. I would like to be good, but you guys are making it real tough, kind of thing. So I liked it. It
had been a while since I had seen this, so I had forgotten that the literal harebrained scientist actually turns out, spoiler, to be the bad guy.
Yeah,
literally. I guess the conflicted bad guy, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah,
anyway.
I was kind of sad about that, and it was weird.
Yeah.
Like, really, if you're actually the bad guy, don't sneak Sarah Jane in.
Yeah.
Or as soon as she comes in, stick her in a cupboard, or so. That didn't necessarily work for me. That big reveal didn't feel like a big reveal, and I was sad about that. But never mind.
I thought he was gonna especially when he showed up. I thought he was gonna affect a different personality.
Yeah,
but he was still just like a.
Yeah. It didn't. That reveal did not work for me. But it's got Sarah Jane in it. I like Sarah Jane.
Yeah, and I thought it was
and she was friends with the BFG or whatever. The giant. You've got to read more Roald Dahl.
Sorry. Yes. I've not read that, but now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
yes,
the BFG. All our British listeners will know exactly what I'm on about, and they're going to feel sorry for me because I married an idiot.
Or it could just be Iron Giant there. Throw that in there.
No.
Yeah, it's the same thing as a destructive rope. Anyway.
I didn't like the fact that he was like, I'm going to destroy the world but save you, because that doesn't sound like fun for anybody.
No. Though you were a fan of the countdown.
Oh, always. And we get them in both episodes. My favorite thing in the world is a good Doctor Who countdown that starts with number 3,482 and slowly counts down from there. I've never seen anything like it, but every time Doctor Who has a countdown, it starts
ludicrously high.
It starts ludicrously high. Yes. Yeah. And this one was 300, and I think the other
reset.
one, and then it gets reset. And I think the one in 7 was like at 900. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I can't remember, but it was it was insane. And that happens a lot in Doctor Who. Ridiculously high countdowns.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. Because I thought the pacing, and again, without doing all the Fourth Doctor in my head, I think the pacing tends to go a little faster at this era.
Yes, I didn't feel like I got a lull in one of the episodes as bad as...
it helps that you still had a good amount of characters, but yeah.
Yeah.
You got a fair number of villains, because you sort of had the main woman villain, her
Yeah.
assistant, then the doctor, not
The
that we knew about
harebrained
that,
guy
and the actual robot.
the actual monster.
And then, of course, then you had Unit, the doctor, Sarah Jane, and then Harry.
Yep.
You get
Who
introduced.
was undercover briefly and
Yep.
then not, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Worst James Bond ever.
Exactly.
And then they called him, you called him, I think, James Pond.
No, Sarah Jane.
Does she?
Sarah Jane, yeah.
And I was like, is that Amelia's dad? What's happening?
Not Pond, Bond. Ah, you're terrible.
Bees.
Beads?
Yes, bees.
Well, speaking of bees, in Time in the Rani with the deadly bees.
Yeah.
In the disco ball.
The disco ball, yeah. Bees in the disco
ball.
ball. Sounds like a great rock band.
So what'd you think of that generally?
Yeah. It was okay.
It lagged a little more.
It did lag in places, and there were, like, every time somebody ended up in a bubble, they exploded, except
Mel.
when Mel ended up in a bubble. So
And
that was weird.
I mean, that's a counterexample to myself. When I complain about Kerblam, here in Time of the Run, they start off with this, nice, naive, innocent young girl, and they blow her up in the first, 15 minutes. Pretty bad blow up.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, geez.
Yeah, in a bubble. It's not
Yeah.
dissimilar to... Yeah, I was wondering if we were doing a body count there.
Yeah.
Complete random side trivia. These episodes do also have Wanda Ventham in them, and she is, of course, Benedict Cumberbatch's mummy. So there's that.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to see her name in the second round of credits and was like, hey, look at there.
Well, the fact that you knew her name, I thought was pretty...
I'm telling you, the amount of information in my head sometimes is shocking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know that. That's some trivia that I happen to have in my head. I also know, and this came into mind whilst I was watching this as well, that Tom Hiddleston also plays the spoons. I don't know why I know this piece of information. No idea why this is in my head. I don't even read gossip magazines. I just know this stuff somehow via osmosis.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So, yeah.
Yes, you did say there may have been a brief unwanted touching with the spoons and the Rani and the Doctor.
Oh, yes! Yes, and he's doing a fantastic job playing the spoons. It's fascinating to watch. He's got all his fingers going on, and he's tapping on everything, and then I'm pretty sure he plays the spoons on Ronnie's boobs.
So,
Yeah.
maybe she turned or he just went crazy, and then they just gave him a talking to,
Yeah.
Still, great what you're doing. Just be aware of actors around.
I kind of, in 1987, I would almost guarantee that did not happen. In fact, if she said anything, I imagine that they would have told her to lighten up and smile more.
I can't remember who she is, and this is bad. I surely should know who she is.
I looked it up.
She's-
O'Hare or something.
Yeah, I mean, she's,
something.
a person.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
appears to be.
Yeah, who's been in stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like she could get it with Kate O'Mara.
O'Mara, yeah.
So, yeah. No, I'm Googling her, and I'm probably going to get distracted by that. But anyway.
Yeah,
So,
she's been in stuff.
yeah,
That's
she's been
the
in
point.
stuff,
Oh, has spoken on several occasions about her experience with the casting couch, so she may actually
Have lots of stories.
pull punches, not pull punches.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll look at her later.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Sorry.
Yeah, we don't mean to be Googling while we're talking. But anyway, yeah, and so, I don't know. In some ways I thought, which is odd, because we have a difference of over a decade. Like, if you had not told someone the years for these, I wonder if they would know which one was newer than the other one. Because I thought Robot, I mean, I can see how the robot in Robot looks kind of crazy, but it actually isn't. I mean, the arms are a little crazy. But, fundamentally, I think it's a good robot.
Yes, although there are some real issues with 1974 CGI.
Yeah, I was reading about that. Apparently they used the wrong color background or something that they were supposed to use, so the legs disappeared for a second.
Yeah.
No.
And then they have the giant tank.
The giant, huge, for real, 100% real tank.
Massively huge, obviously tank not a perspective trick. And then when the giant grows to humongous proportions and then carries around Sarah Jane.
That is 100% Sarah Jane.
Definitely Sarah Jane.
And not a doll.
Not some
with its
weird
little
doll
legs.
swinging in rhythm. So that was fun.
But because I thought with Time in the Rani, like the makeup was fine with all the I can't even remember what the aliens were called, but with the aliens in Time in the Rani, their makeup was fine. Mm. The monster was a little crazy, or the monsters.
Yeah,
I mean, because the eyes were sort of independently googling.
Yeah, although that didn't necessarily bother me because they also had eyes where their ears go, and it all of that was required suspension of disbelief.
But it was definitely a quarry in Wales or wherever it was.
Oh yes, it was definitely a quarry in Wales. Yeah,
and I don't know. It just seemed, I don't know. I'm not saying obviously that the Doctor's first story should be on Earth or anything, but I guess when you do it in an alien landscape. Kind of, its little effects can go a little crazy sometimes, and so I was like, nah, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't 100% distracting or anything, but I was just like, I feel like this could be tighter. Of course, I think I was, reading on TARDIS.wiki that a lot of people's opinions, even involved in the production, were like, yeah, this is not our best work ever. So, but anyway, yeah.
I did not think it was that bad.
Yeah. So, and I think the Rani's interesting because, there's a million, nothing against the master actor whose name I can't remember right now, of this time period, but I'd rather there have been more Rani stories than a million Master stories because.
And what is this the last time we see the Rani?
Just the twice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, she may come back at some point.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. That'd be interesting for the 13th Doctor. I feel like instead of having to bring back Missy or all that talk.
Although, dear God, bring back Missy.
But I'm saying you could, have a Rani. Obviously, she'd be regenerated. Could be a he, could be a she, who knows?
Yeah.
But, that'd be an interesting.
Yep. And it would be sort of a tip.
Of course, I know all the Time Lords were supposed to have died, but whatever.
Yeah, but the Master didn't, so why in the world would Rani?
Yeah.
It would be a nice tip to longtime watchers, but not be something that...
Yeah, you have to research anything about it.
Yeah, that new watchers would be put off by.
And also, I think, would also be an interesting hat tip. Well, okay, I get this at this point. It's not the first, because you have Susan, but one of the first prominent female Time Lords.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to play against the 13th Doctor.
Yep, absolutely.
Sure.
I'm all for it.
So any final thoughts about now that you've seen all the Doctor's new first introductions? Any of them jump out, or any final thoughts about 4 and 7?
No, I think it's always an interesting thing to do, and it must be an incredibly difficult thing as an actor to play.
Yeah, because you're not how much you've looked at your predecessors or not, right? That's up to you, I guess. It's all how you want to do it, and then whatever direction you're getting, and then whether it's the wardrobe or speaking to you as an actor. Or whatever direction you're getting, or whatever the script's giving you, or whatever.
Well, and walking that line between making a character your own, but also remembering... it's not like you're taking over in a show run or anything. You've got to follow the footprints in some way, even as you're making your own path. And that's an interesting line to have to tread.
Yeah. Well, with that, we will go into the TARDIS library.
When you close your eyes,
I go to the library.
Go to the library now.
All right, into the TARDIS library, where we have another exciting Jessica book review.
Is that just my thing?
We need your own theme music.
I do need my own theme music.
Jessica's song.
Well, you can always go back to the theme from Top Gear if all else fails.
Now, I think it's interesting because today you do not have a Doctor Who novel for us.
I do not.
Something a little bit different.
I have a nonfiction book. Mm-hmm. And this was one of my Christmas presents from you because you're very clever. And the name of it is Bernard Who, 75 Years of Doing Just About Anything. By Bernard Cribbins.
Yes, I do like the Bernard Who, sort of a Doctor Who there.
Yep.
This was released 11 October 2018. Do you have a synopsis you want to give? Or read, or whatever?
Well, no, I think it pretty much speaks for itself. This is...
Maybe just for folks who don't know off the top of their head. Bernard Cribbins is...
Bernard Cribbins...
Doctor Who credits?
Yes, his Doctor Who credits. He was in... He was in the Peter Cushing one.
Yeah, the second one.
He was in one before that, though, wasn't
No.
he?
He was in the second Cushing, which was the Daleks 21, 50, 80, whatever that one's called.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, he portrayed Wilfred.
Yes, but he was in another episode as well, I think, before any of that. Now I don't remember. But yes, and then was Wilfred in... as Donna's grandfather, and the reason, ultimately, that 10 regenerates to 11.
That's right. He will knock 3 times.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Poor thing. Oh, I love him.
Mm-hmm.
And that really, when I started the book, was all I knew about him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a real joy. First of all, buy this book and read it. It is such a delight. I suspect, by the way that Mr. Cribbins talks in the book about being a technophobe, that this was something that was recorded.
Well, he has a co-author, so I figure.
Oh, does he?
Yes, Mr. James
Okay.
Goss or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, I strongly suspect that this was something that he just talked into a microphone and... the co-author made sense out of it because it has got his voice down to a T.
James Hogg, sorry.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It is so delightful from beginning to end. I can hear his voice reading it out loud to me. It's so much fun. And it's basically just his 75 years as a jobbing actor. And, starting out when he was 15 or something ridiculous, doing rep theater and going on. I mean, he's still working. It talks about him recording comedy songs. Which then we went onto YouTube and Googled because we needed to know more about that.
Right Said Fred.
I was just going to say, interestingly enough, he had a song called Right Said Fred, and when those two bald guys who were too sexy for all their things were thinking of a band name, they got it from that song. He recorded in Abbey Studios with the same people who would go on to... help the Beatles make their albums. It's absolutely insane. And of course, British people will know him from the Thingy Bob, the couple of places, the Railway Children, which I don't know at all, and is it the Wombles?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And where apparently he was all the characters in the Wombles. And of course I lived in England for 11 years, but I wasn't a child there, so I didn't get any of this. And the not the Jackanory, just Jackanory, where apparently celebrities would sit and read books to the television. And so he did that
Jodie
a
recently
lot.
did one. I forget what the show was for, but she did a little...
Well, there you go. So yeah, it's so much fun. I loved every word on the page. It just was lovely.
What was, because I know there's so many, I don't want you to spoil it for the readers, what was maybe your favorite or your most surprising bit about him?
Oh, I don't know. He was in Anything Goes.
Okay.
With John Barrowman, who
Yes.
was just beginning to make his start, which I found quite interesting. He was a paratrooper
Okay, yeah.
in the Army. And was stationed in lots of different places. He talks about that. He met his wife very young. They've been together for ages. He's a fisherman. He likes to be a fisherman. One of my favorite bits, and again, it's the tone and the voice, but he's talking about the picture. It turns out he's a very good shot. He discovers this in the Army. And as a paratrooper, he didn't have to spend a whole lot of time, apparently, on shooting. But when he was learning how to shoot, it turns out he was very, very good at it, and he won an award. And he just says, you know, I've got a picture around here somewhere. If I can find it, it'll be in the book. And then you go to the middle section with the pictures, and he's like, look, I found it. And it's just, that sort of thing is just so wonderful. And I loved him as Wilfred, and he has just gone up a million times in my esteem, and I already loved him.
I think that's another one of those.
I'm hoping that maybe he'll show up at Gallifrey.
But he's another one of those actors who, of course, comes from, well, I don't know if he comes from, but at least it has the comic chops. That's certainly what you get with Bernard. But obviously, as Wilfred, as other characters, but very dramatic, of course. You know, that whole, not even the last part with the end of time, but even before that, when the last proper episode of Tennant's run, not a special, was what I mean, you know, when it's in the rain and Wilfred's asking where he's going to go or who he's going to be, and that he'll you know, think of him or whatever, even though Donna can't, she's lost her memory. So it's this very dramatic moment. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's done it all, though. Mm-hmm. All of it. And he's worked with everybody. And he actually lists, and this is the only thing that let me down a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's the only thing that let me down. Uh-huh. Is that he lists as one of his favorite doctors, Peter Cushing.
Yes.
And
yes.
I refuse to accept that as existing. Yeah. He also mentions, and I'm not telling the whole story, so by all means, still read the book, that David and Georgia Tennant named one of their children Wilfred, which is very sweet.
Yeah.
Aww. So go read it.
All right. For next week, we're going to have another surprise topic that we will be thinking about as we get ready for Galley 1 and think about all things Doctor Who without the 13th Doctor on the air.
Absolutely. So TBD.
That's right. So if folks want to talk to you about your favorite Doctor introduction, where can they reach you on the internet?
They can find me at One Phoenix Theater.
And if they want to talk to me about my favorite Doctor choosing their wardrobe scene, they can find me at NC Public Servant. Well, until next week, enjoy watching, reading, and listening to the Doctor's adventures throughout time and space.
This is BBC Television.